History of Architecture 2. Ten, 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 ten. Presented by Roy Gershom and Sopenko Christian. 20th to 21st century architecture. So what happened? Dramatic changes happened. Let's start off with 1900s to 1939. In some countries, Belgium, example, Art Nouveau was seen as a socialist style. Example of Art Nouveau: the growth of modernism encompassed new constructional techniques, reinforced concrete frame, and longer areas of glazing. Example of reinforced concrete frame: new disciplines of internal planning as exemplified by Australian and Czech architect Adolf Loos. By the end of 1930s, modernism in all of its many variants had been categorized as a style by Hitchcock and John Johnson in their The International Style, published in 1931.
The 21 greatest buildings of the 21st century. So often we look beyond the walls of our surroundings in an attempt to grasp everything around us, to better understand our place. Where are we? When are we? Nowhere is this more aptly embodied than in the throes of architecture. From pole to pole, the pervasive vast trade spans projects from home renovations to soaring landmarks only describable through prepositions above, within, beyond. Architecture is often measured through epochs and time-based nomenclature like mid-century, brutalism, postmodern, and modern. It's not a coincidence. The discipline provides a glimpse into the future that's framed within an understanding of the past. It helps us not to simply grasp our surroundings, but to associate a moment or a structure with the time. For the first greatest building, I give you the Absolute World. Absolute World consists of two skyscrapers in the five buildings residential condominium complex in Mississauga, a suburb of Toronto. Absolute World incorporates a 206-degree twist into its 50 and the 56-story towers. The second greatest building is the Auckland Art Gallery. When it came time to refurbish and expand Auckland's art gallery, architects FJMT and Archimedia wanted to seamlessly blend the new and old buildings while creating a design that references the surrounding area. Within that framework, they established a new architectural identity for the 116-year-old gallery. The third greatest building is the Beijing National Stadium. Home to the 2008 Olympic Games, the Bird's Nest and its signature lattice steel construction was born from an international competition to create a landmark that would help China reintroduce itself to the world. The fourth greatest building is the Blue Planet. Appropriately called the Blue Planet, Denmark's newest aquarium is home to 7 million liters of water, and a design that suits the fluid nature of the ocean precisely. Designed to look like a whirlpool from above, the Blue Planet's exterior seamlessly transitions from placid water features to sweeping sculptural tiled stainless steel, effectively embodying the ocean's power and beauty. The fifth greatest building is the BMW World. When BMW decided to build a new location where customers could immerse themselves in the Bavarian brand's history and pick up their new cars, assuming they tick the box for European delivery, they settled on a design choice that would mimic the technologically advanced design of their vehicles. The sixth greatest building is the Burj Khalifa. The very definition of form follows function design. The Burj Khalifa seems to build entirely of improbable statistics, standing at 829.8 meters. That's 2,722 feet. It's the tallest structure ever built, the tallest skyscraper ever built, a massive 320 meters taller than second place Taipei 101, and home to both the world's nightest nightclub and the highest New Year's fireworks display. Its tired tubular design is reminiscent of traditional Islamic architectural designs and owes a good bit of thanks to Frank Lloyd Wright's theoretical Mile High building, the Illinois. The seventh greatest building is the City of Arts and Sciences. Less of a single building and more of a compound. The City of Arts and Sciences is a wonder of architectural design that inspires the same creativity and imagination fueled wonder as the classics of art and science themselves. In a project brief that perfectly suited the style of Valencia native Santiago Calatrava, the City of Arts and Sciences is a set of seven buildings plus plans for three skyscrapers that have been all but scrapped, situated in the former river of the Turia. The eighth greatest building is the California Academy of Sciences. Much like Valencia's City of Arts and Sciences, the California Academy of Sciences is a building that can't help but inspire grand thoughts of discovery and adventure. The building looks reasonably simple from the ground, but from a higher vantage point, details like the undulating green roof and glass curtain walls begin to stand out. The ninth greatest building is the Disney Concert Hall. The Disney Concert Hall is a polarizing building. Some say that the postmodern Frank Gehry designed hall is a reminiscent of a crumpled piece of paper. Others declare it a masterpiece for the ages. Whatever the disagreements, its place as a focal point of contemporary architecture is well established. The 10th greatest building is the Gardens by the Bay, one of the largest garden projects in the world and located right in the heart of Singapore's Marina Bay. Gardens by the Bay provides tourists and locals with a vast array of flora in a stunning environment. The 11th greatest building is the Guangzhou Opera House. After a star-studded design competition that saw Rem Koolhaas, CCTV headquarters, Seattle Library, and Coop Himmelblau, BMW World submit designs, Iraqi architect Zaha Hadid's entry was selected as the basis for southern China's biggest performing arts center. The 12th greatest building is the Harpa Concert Hall. Continuing the theme of well-designed concert halls, Harpa, the building formerly known as the Reykjavik Concert Hall and the Convention Center, is a geometric Goliath of steel framing clad in multicolored green tinted glass panels open in the midst of biggest depression in Iceland's history. Harpa served as a latticed steel beacon of hope and cultural advancement. The 13th greatest building is the MAXXI National Museum of 21st Century of Arts. The Museum of Arts in the 21st Century is another of Hadid's trademark flowing concrete and steel leviathans. This one has an open space and a modular design that's well suited to housing ever changing arrangements of art. The 14th greatest building is the Metropole Parasol. The Metropole Parasol is a sprawling bridge form. It's claimed to be the largest wooden structure in the world, raised 85 feet above the civil city center, housing an archaeology museum and a restaurant and providing shelter for the central market below it. The parasol has integrated itself well into Seville's daily culture. The 15th greatest building is the National Center of the Performing Arts, often called the giant egg and the reminiscent of the mouse package with old Apple iMacs. The National Center for the Performing Arts is a 5,452-seat filled titanium and glass leviathan surrounded by an artificial lake. The 16th greatest building is the Museum of Islamic Art. To tell the story of the Museum of Islamic Art's creation is to tell the story of an uncompromising architect. When the project began, the first task was coaxing 90-year-old architectural icon, IM, pay out of the retirement pay. Famous for adding beautiful expansions to museums like the National Gallery of Art and the Louvre, then spent 6 months touring the Islamic world for inspiration. The 17th greatest building is the Norwegian Wild Reindeer Center. Located in Dovrefjell Natural Park, this small observation center is meant to shelter hikers and adventurers as they traverse the beautiful Icelandic landscape. The pavilion is constructed of a raw steel frame intended to rust and blend into the landscape even further as it ages. Inside is both a beautifully organic sweeping wall of oiled pine that has been milled and joined together using wooden pegs and a large glass wall facing south to preserve views of the natural landscape. The 18th greatest building is the Parish Art Museum. The new campus for the Parish Art Museum was originally intended to be 30 modest buildings resembling artists' studios, but as is a theme in this list, the financial crisis of 2007 hit and forced a change in plans. The new radically simplified plan involved a 34 square foot barn with a single floor and a cluttered layout. The result is a gallery that feels distinctly American, whether that's because of its unassuming design, farmhouse roots, or beautiful Long Island surrounding is up for debate, but it's a magical place to view some of the American masters. The 19th greatest building is the Seattle Central Library. Designed as another form dictates function affair, the Seattle Central Library was intended from day one to be a sanctuary for books. The massive glass surfaces serve to brighten up the interior and vanquish any notions of a stuffy library. Interior features like an uninterrupted book spiral, a perfectly unbroken manifestation of the Dewey Decimal System, spiraling up 4 floors, and multiple enormous reading rooms add further appeal to a living museum of knowledge. The 20th greatest building is the Shard. Londoners have an unfortunate tendency to give buildings pet names, be it the Gherkin, the Walkie Talkie, or most recently, the Shard. Formerly known as the London Bridge Tower, the Shard is an 87-story glass tower that looks like an extravagant transparent pyramid. And the last but not the least, the 21st greatest building is the Statoil Office Building, built to headquarter 2,500 employees in an office park outside of Oslo. Statoil's new global headquarters is a masterclass in designing a large building in harmony with its surroundings. At once, the massive building's white walls and pale yellow lights seem to be a natural extension of the landscape, while the massive geometric shapes stand out amid rolling hills. Each overlapping section is arranged to offer exceptional views of the Oslo Fjord and work within the idea that every employee deserves a prime working space. The center of the office building offers a massive central atrium with a convex glass roof, creating a central area that builds upon the office's democratic and communal aspirations.